Now, we're going to talk about using modals to talk about the past. This includes giving advice about past events, expressing regret, expressing certainty and uncertainty about the past. You will also learn to distinguish between modals that express information about the past and modals that express information about the present. In addition, you will learn about the different meaning that each modal conveys. Finally, you will learn about the passive voice, including when and how to use it. I hope you enjoy this week. Making guesses about the past with modals. Here's a picture of Emily's desk. She's very organized, but look at it now. What do you think happened to Emily's desk? Maybe a thief broke into the office. Maybe a bird flew in through the window. Maybe Emily made a mess while she was sleeping and then forgot about it. We are talking about uncertainty in the past. We are not sure what happened. We can only guess. It is important to remember that we are not guessing about right now. These things probably didn't happen, but maybe they did. Maybe expresses possibility, but uncertainty. We are not 100% sure that this happened. When we are not sure what happened in the past, we can also express this information using modals, which are helping verbs. A thief might have broken into the office. A bird may have flown in through the window. Emily could have made a mess while she was sleeping. These are followed by have and the past participle of the verb. Let's watch a conversation involving this grammar.
What happened to my desk?
The wind might have blown your papers.
The wind? It couldn't have been the wind because the window was closed.
The cleaners might have done it while they were cleaning.
No, I don't think so. It couldn't have been the cleaners because everybody knows the cleaners don't come on Monday night.
It could have been Matt.
Matt? Come on, he doesn't even work here anymore. It couldn't have been Matt. There is only one possibility. It had to have been you. It must have been you.
But it might not have been me. Here are the characters in our story, Emily and me. I'm Jake. What did I say about the past? The wind might have blown your papers. Here we use the modal, have, and the past participle. You may recognize this as the same grammar that we use in the present perfect tense. The cleaners may have done it. It could have been Matt. Or it also could have been me. After a modal, use the base form of the verb. In present perfect tense, we would say, the wind has blown your papers. However, do not say, the wind might has blown your papers. Always use have after the modal with any subject. Here's what Emily said. It couldn't have been the wind. The window has been closed. It couldn't have been the cleaners. They never come on Mondays. Matt couldn't have done it. He doesn't work here. If we use couldn't have and the past participle, this means we think something was impossible. Emily also said, it had to have been you. Or we could also say, you must have made this mess. Must have and had to have are used to show that we are almost certain. Be careful, in this grammar, these modals do not express necessity. It is not something we have to do. It expresses our certainty or uncertainty about the past. When we speak, it is very common to use the contractions instead of the full form. It couldn't have been Matt. It must have been you. When we pronounce this, it sounds like couldn't have, must have. It's okay to say this when we speak, but do not use this in writing. To form a yes-no question, simply switch the position of the subject and the modal. In American English, could is the only modal we would use in a question to express uncertainty in the past. This may vary with other dialects of English. Could the cleaners have blown your papers? No, they couldn't have. Could Jake have done it? Yes, she could have. Let's review. Here we can use modals with have and the past participle for something that we aren't really sure of. It's just a possibility. Next, these modals can be used to show that we are almost certain about something, although there is still a little doubt. Finally, if something is impossible, use couldn't.
Reflecting on the past, expressing regret and disappointment with should have. By now, you probably know that should is a word English speakers use frequently. Perhaps you think of advice when you see the word. You should study. You should clean your house. You shouldn't eat too much. But did you know that you could also use should with have and a past participle to show regrets or disappointment about the past? Take my experience as an example. Last Saturday, it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the crickets were chirping, so I decided to go for a hike. However, the experience was not quite as perfect as the day was. I have a few regrets about that day. Let me show you what I mean.
Which way do I go? I'm at a crossroads. I'll just look at my map. I didn't bring the map. My phone, where's my phone? Left it in the car. It's so stupid!
In reality, I forgot my map. I didn't bring my phone. I was not prepared. It was a mistake. In retrospect, or looking backwards, I can see that I should not have forgotten my map. You should always have a map when you go hiking. I should have brought my phone. I should have been prepared. You know what? I regret it. I'm not happy about those decisions. Okay, let's take a closer look at these sentences on the right. We can use should, have, and a past participle to talk about what we regret in the past or what we're disappointed about. Look at each of these sentences. Should, have, and the past participle of forget, which is forgotten. Should have brought. Should have been. Okay, let's take a look at another example.
Ow. Ouch. Can't believe I twisted my ankle. These stupid shoes!
All right, again, I made a few mistakes on my hiking trip. I twisted my ankle because I wore the wrong shoes. It was a mistake. In retrospect, or looking backwards, I should have been more careful. I should have worn hiking boots. I regret it. Can you find the past participles in each of these two sentences with should have? Yep, been and worn, which are the past participles of be and wear. You know, my sister had advised me to wear hiking boots. She's pretty smart about hiking. I ought to have followed her advice. Ought to have is like should have. We also follow it with a past participle. We can also use should have and a past is like should have. We also follow it with a past participle. We can also use should have and a past participle to give past advice. Take a look at this example. Joe invited Molly to a Halloween party. He told her to wear a costume. However, the day before the party, Joe called all his guests to tell them it would no longer be a costume party. When Joe called Molly, she didn't recognize his number, so she didn't answer it. Although Joe left her a message, she didn't listen to it. As a result, Molly was very embarrassed when she arrived at the party dressed as a turkey. No one else was wearing a costume. In reality, Molly didn't answer Joe's call. She didn't listen to his message. She wore a costume to the party. Do you have any past advice for Molly? What should she have done? What shouldn't she have done? She should have answered her phone. She should have listened to the message. She should not have worn a costume. Then she wouldn't have been so embarrassed. Okay, I'm going to show you one more mistake I made. Ooh, I think I'll hike down this mountain. Looks like good exercise. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my gosh! Not a good idea. What did I do? Well, as you saw, I tried to hike down the mountain and I fell. What should I have done? I should have been more careful. I should not have gone down that mountain. What do you think I should do next time? Well, I should probably be more prepared for the possible dangers of hiking. Notice the difference between using should in the past, which is followed by have in a past participle, and using should to talk about the present or future, which is followed by the base form or simple form of the main verb. Also, like other modal verbs, when we form a question, should will precede the subject. It is then followed by have and a past participle. What should I have done? It is also very common to use the contraction forms should have and shouldn't have. In this lesson, you learned how to use should have with a past participle to express regrets and disappointment about past events. Thank you for listening.